Well, welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by very cool fellows here who don't have the same background as me, but they're going to be cooler people to talk to, I think. We have Robert Miller, Corbin Bernsen, Louis Dana Snyder, and director Steve Pierce of Heard, which is having the U.S. premiere later today at New York Comic Con.
Hey, exciting. Yeah, man, it's going to be exciting. Nice to meet you, Neal. Thank you very much for having us on.
Yes, thank you for doing this. So, can you give people an idea of what Heard is about?
Absolutely. So Heard it's an action horror film. It's kind of a zombie backdrop. Basically, it's about two women that go on a camping trip trying to save their failing marriage and end up trapped between a zombie outbreak and warring militia groups. And really, the story is all about having to fight. You know, some people are fighting for survival and other people fight for control. That's sort of it's a character-driven action movie.
You're right. Now, there's been a lot of zombie movies, and I don't know if you could call this a zombie movie, infected movie, but to do one, I think, in modern day, you have to do something really different for it to stand out.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you made the distinction between zombie and infected. A lot of people don't even get that different distinction. We're definitely on the infected realm. Ours is closer to like rage virus zombies. There's, we have a little bit different take on it overall, but, really the thing we love about horror movies, James and I, as co-writers, is the ability to really ratchet up the tension for all the characters. And that, it allows you to just really get quickly to the core of like the most intense versions of humans, which is it's very fun. It makes a really great storytelling device.
Corbin, what interested you in the movie and your character?
The script. It always starts with the script, the story, and then the I don't want to sound too detailed, but the structure of the script. The script worked. I look at a lot of things like, will that work or not work? Does the building stand based on the foundation that you've created? That appealed to me. The character, less so. I mean, I like the character, but there wasn't that much story development of the character, at least within the script. I mean, we had to create our own world, but I knew that the guy got the film going. It was sort of the big incident at the beginning, and I like being a part of that. I like the idea that I get to help launch this story. I always see that as a great opportunity. Rather than, I get offered a lot of stuff that I don't do that's, an insignificant character in the middle of a movie pumping gas just to put my name in there. That I don't do. But if it has purpose and reason, that's always my thing to my agents, managers. If it has reason and purpose to the structure of the story, I'm interested. And then I look at the character and see who he is. And, I have a whole psychology for this guy that we don't get to know, but that's part of the fun of acting, is creating that.
And I mean, dude, you're in Robert Miller is, he is effectively our Drew Barrymore, is kind of our joke. It's like, but then you come back, in flashbacks and other little things throughout the film. But you have these short little snippets, but you tell so much of a story within those. And that's just a testament to you as a performer. You bring the work and you don't need much screen time or many lines to tell a story.
And even when I read it, though, those little flashbacks and things, you read those, it's not like what I knew the beginning was. I know we're going to do them. Well, I was actually amazed, to be honest with you, Stephen. I was amazed when I saw it that I was in as much as I was in, that the character doesn't just get lost. I mean, obviously we know it goes with the girls and their story. But I was amazed how much I actually was in the film. Physically in it, not just mentally in it.
You're amazed. I'm grateful.
I'm glad you said that, though, Corbin, because I've seen lots of movies, horror movies, and there'll be cameos, basically, but they're all over the poster, and it's kind of like, it was kind of deceitful in a way. But like you said, you are a part of the movie, and your character is a big part of the story, the character arc of the other characters.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's a fuel behind her, so that's always going to be there. Yeah, and that's, without me even being on the screen, you get to feel the presence of the character. So it works. So again, like I said, the structure of the story appealed to me. And then, what I was able to do with the character in the limited time.
And Dana, what interested you?
Well, I got to know Steven. And I mean, the same thing, certainly from the script. I mean, it's great. It's got it's very interesting to me. It wasn't just, Nasty Neal. It's not just some guy with a hacksaw running through town, everybody pants. It's got layers. But also talking to Steven a lot, I had wrote a movie that we made a little bit before his process was starting, or halfway through it. So we started talking about all the challenges and things that we had run into doing it. And I got to know Steven more. Remember sitting up many a night talking about, how did you do this, that, and then he said, like, oh yeah, this part, you want to do the reading. And I thought, like, all right, get out of here. You're nuts. Well, you what? That would be like, I don't know, doing a dinner with Andre with Carrot Top instead of, like just something that...
I want to see that movie now. Man.
I want to see that movie for sure.
You've sold Corbin and I, yeah.
All right, well, that's 2 tickets.
I'm sure Carrot Top would like to see it too. So
that's true. But no, I mean, I felt very touched and honored that his big dream he's putting together, and that he wanted to include me in it, was very. I was scared, because they're like, oh God, I don't want to ruin screw up his thing. The guy's got a lot of time in this. He's got a kid on the way, all this stuff, and then I'm going to. But, what better compliment than someone wants you to be a part of their life's ambition for their first big movie they're making. I mean, it's it's quite a compliment.
Well, that ended up being very sweet. I was going to give you a little bit of shit because at the beginning you're like, I liked the script. It was great. And I was like, oh, really sell it, Dana. Really tell everybody how good that script is.
I only read 2 pages of it. I don't like
just read what he was in. Yeah.
It was real good. My people said it was real good stuff.
Well, Steven, what was it about Dana that you thought was good for Louis?
Dana, I mean, the film at that point is a pretty intense film. Like, it comes out of a really intense sequence, one of her first big action sequences, and then we come into a really kind of heavy expositional section before we get into more stuff, and it could feel very saggy, I would say, as far as pace. And it's a little bit, it's not extremely atypical. It's where we're trying to give you some more information about the world so you can understand sort of what's happening. And you need somebody unique, to really cut through. And Dana is that person. Like, he can't say anything, you know what I mean? I'm just going to say it in the nicest way I can, like a normal person. Like Dana, everything he says is like filtered through the Dana megaphone of life, and it's amazing. Like, it works perfectly. He feels like just a character that doesn't, but he's also the character of Louis doesn't belong in this world. He's from somewhere else, so it totally makes sense. Like, he is this element of a prize that they are fighting for, and it totally makes sense that it'd be not somebody that looks and sounds like the people that are trying to collect him.
Corbin said this earlier. Corbin brings the work, Dana brings the jerk. That's how.
The Work and the Jerk. We got another movie here in The Work. But yeah.
That's another movie. Yes.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Now, you're not really like comic relief in the movie, but like Steven says, it's very tense, and then your character comes in. So what kind of direction do you give Dana? And Dana, how do you take the role so it's not like over-the-top comedy?
I mean, I'll leave that to Dana first, because, Dana brought it in. All I did was just try and massage it in.
Well, you got to know the world you're in. I wasn't proposed like, it'd be great if I made a cartwheel when I entered.
It's an interesting choice.
I'm not an idiot. I know the world we're dealing here. I know, I had a great director once that always said they liked hiring funny people for serious roles, because they're always looking for little opportunities of their humanity to come out.
I think
Whereas-
Scorsese says that about Taxi Driver.
That even when they're in something funny, it's very serious. But you know,
You ripped that off from Scorsese, didn't you, man?
I
That's
did.
what I'm hearing. You feel
Eddie, come on over here.
called out. It was there. It was ripped.
Well, if you're going to rip off from someone, why not Martin Scorsese? And, yeah. So, Corbin, when you said that when you saw the movie for the first time, so when did you see it for the first time? Did you see it with an audience? Did you see it like at home?
A couple of weeks. I don't know. When did you guys send me the?
Yeah, it's like a week ago. It was something you guys did at the premiere, but then it's like it became necessary for you to see it so you could know what the hell you were talking about.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Dana.
I was sitting here in my house. Unfortunately, I only got to see it on a laptop. That's why I'm looking forward to seeing it on a bigger screen. If I was more of a tech guy like my kids, I could have at least tried to put it up on my big flat screen TV. But I watched it, and I was just because I just come off. I've been working with my son on a film that he's writing and trying to explain to him how to simplify and streamline and get to your points, and you can decorate it all the way you want. And I watch it in a way that's what I'm trying to explain to him. That's what I'm trying to explain. Just know your movie, know your characters, just get to it and do it. And you don't need, we don't need to go into, I think, Stephen, you said this over several times now. Yes, there's a relationship between a lesbian couple, but there's nothing really made of that. That's not, it just is. So, a big fault of a younger, less experienced filmmaker, writer might be, I need to really get into that world and explore. No, they just happen to be real people in this world. And I just, again, where I responded to at the beginning was reading the script and the structure of the script. And I don't even think I read that, I don't remember even thinking like, oh, they're a lesbian couple. They were a couple, and so I was really pleasantly, not surprised, that sounds crazy, but it was wonderful to see it all come together and work so well, like the script offered, the potential for it.
I texted Dana when I sent him the screener. I was like, it's always been my dream for you to watch this alone by yourself on your phone. You know what I mean? Or alone. And obviously I'd said it as a joke, but no shit. Like when we were making it, I did insist. Audio guys, mixers hate this, and colorists despise this. But like everywhere we would go, every time we do a color pass or we do a mix pass, I would pull out my headphones and they'd send it to me, and I'd pull out my phone and I'd watch it all on my phone. And they'd be like, yeah, but I mean, that's not accurate color. And I said, everyone is going to watch this on their fucking phone. It's like, so if it doesn't sound and look good here, it doesn't matter how good and sound it looks on IMAX, because no one's going to care. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I truly believe that. And, because you can, like every time I work like a job as a director for a live thing, it's hilarious to me that the shader and the client always end up fighting about, like, they're like, oh, but don't look at that monitor. That monitor's not colored. That's not accurate. Oh, but look at this one. And I'm always like, oh, so in this one monitor, in this one room, in this one instance, we got it the way you want it to look, but everywhere else, God knows what's happening. Like, that's an insane concept. It's like, you got to do anyway. So,
but it's the real world. To think that I always used to aim for like a laptop, not a phone. I didn't quite go to that extreme.
Right.
But I always aim for how does it look on a nice Mac.
Yeah, I mean, our score, I love the score of the film. Alexander Artson did the composition. I think he did a fabulous job.
Great.
And it sounds so good in a theater. Like the theater, when this baby, when it's got a big 5171 like playback scenario, it sounds awesome and huge. But, it still works on the small thing, and that was the whole point, is you got to be able to hear it and listen to it, watch it in a small format.
And Corbin made a really good point about the couple in the movie, because it's not, it's there, but I also think that it builds a lot of like, you feel for the characters, like paranoia, because like they keep it as a secret to the people they're with, and the audience, myself sometimes could be guilty of this. Yeah, I think like maybe these Southern people, maybe if they would know, they'd be backwards and hate them. But that's not like really in the movie. But it just kind of works like that. You're not sure if they should tell them or not.
Right.
And that also doesn't make the movie preachy that way either.
Well, thank you. That was hopeful. I'm really grateful to hear that. But no, that was the mission, was, the given circumstance of these people are gay in this scenario, they don't feel safe. That is right in line with being in the zombie outbreak.
Yeah, it also works with the idea of keeping it secret if you're infected.
Exactly. So all of these things, that was intentional to be like, all these things add pressure on the characters in their emotional journey. Yeah.
Dina, what did you
I
think
think
when
you
you
were
first
pretty
was on
conditions with the looks that people gave them.
Mhm.
Really just enough to know, to keep the tension going about who around them trusted them because of knowing kind of who they were.
Those are all real people, too. Those are all the people in the real community who came out and performed in that dinner sequence. There were about 35 background actors in that, I think, and they were lovely people. They had a great time. We had a great time having them. I don't think that they knew exactly what they were getting into when they signed up, because most everybody has this glamorous view of making a movie. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to sit in this room for 8 hours, and you're going to be out there for about 45 minutes on the set. It's like, that's what making a movie is.
And the movie itself, people might say it's a zombie movie, infected movie, but it's really about the people and their interaction with each other. And I like that you never know who is really quote unquote good or bad, and people are different levels of that. And you also don't make all like small town people like backwards bumpkins. Like, some people that may be like, well, I don't know about this guy, but then there's some people that are, doing the right thing.
Holy shit, Neal, you got it, man. You watched the movie and just like everything. That's like what I was hoping people would get.
Well, good, yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it doesn't spell it out for you. It's there, and I think you come to your own conclusion.
I think you're slowly turning from nasty Neal into nicety Neal.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, my co-host and friend Annabelle says I shouldn't use nasty Neal because I'm sweet, and I should use sweet Neal, but I don't think it works with the show.
Not with that backdrop.
Right. Can I rename you Dastardly Dana?
Sure. That's one of the best things I've ever been called.
So what was the premiere at Fright Fest like?
Oh man, Fright Fest is killer. They put us up. I think somebody told me it's the second largest or the largest screen in Europe, but we did Saturday night on this huge IMAX screen on the main screen at Fright Fest, and they are just, of all the festivals I've ever been involved with, they give the best experience to the filmmaker and such a wide exposure for an audience. And also they're not insular programming. Like I talked to them, Alan Jones is one of the guys that runs that. And he specifically, I met him in Berlin after they had interest and heard about doing Herd at Fright Fest. And they were so caring. They really give a shit. They work very hard. Their audience is very dedicated. And it is, for the first time watching it with an audience, we watched it with a sold-out crowd of like 720 people. It was unbelievable. I mean, it truly was one of the best experiences I've ever had, like watching a film.
Yeah, I don't like to make the show about myself, but my first feature last year premiered at Fright Fest, and it's an amazing experience going there. And like you said, everyone, the people around it and the people there are all huge movie fans, and they show a lot of diverse horror, because horror is diverse itself. Like, there's some weird experimental stuff, and there's like gory stuff and everything in between.
They do a great job, and congratulations, man. They do a great job of making that programming that diverse. It feels like really something they're dedicated to, and they don't get any government funding. They do it all just on ticket sales, and that should tell you how good they are at it, because they sell that out, and they have that spot in Leicester Square every year.
Yeah. And so Corbin and Dana, are you guys looking forward, obviously looking forward to, but watching the movie with an audience? What do you expect that experience to be like?
Yeah, definitely. No, go ahead, Dana.
Who knows? I don't know when I'm going to, but I would love to. I look forward. I hope I get to see it with an audience very soon.
I'm looking forward to it because that changes everything. As good as it is, and I love it, you watch it with an audience and it adds another whole layer to it, especially a comedy or a horror film. I mean, I remember I was sitting at I'd seen a horror film, I forget what it was, years ago, on my laptop, and then I went to see it with an audience, and the people it was like 86th Street in New York. It was like the Lowe's uptown. And it was like the audience was, every time somebody got near a door, I would hear, stupid. And I thought like, oh, this is great. This is really, they're fully in here. So yeah, an audience change. It's just, turns up the volume. It's like the Marshall amplifier going up to 11, you know?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I always say in the show, comedy and horror are the two things you like to watch with other people. You know, you don't want to sit around and cry watching Schindler's List together, but, you know, you can watch a horror movie together. And
you got a first date at work, Scott.
So
you're taking first dates to Schindler's List?
Very successful.
Wow. That is a
big tips.
move.
What that says is you're culturally conscious, you're smart, you're intelligent, it's weepy, it's sad, let me comfort you, and you get all of it. You're like, you know, it's perfect. Yeah. Great first date movie, Schindler's List. Oh, you must be so compassionate. Oh, yes.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah. I like this idea. Yeah. So, Stephen, casting the two main characters, what was that process like? Because, you know, they're a big part of the movie, so you have to have, you know, good actors.
Yeah,
Not just good actors, but they also have to have chemistry together.
100%. If they fail as a relationship, the whole film fails. I mean, that is the basis. That is the fact of the matter. Eisenberg and Beans were our casting directors, and they pulled a bunch of people together for those roles. They narrowed it down to a bit, and we saw Ellen Adair, who plays Jamie, and Mitzi Akaha. They did some callbacks. They were just, both of them, fabulous because, I mean, they both have specifically difficult tasks. Ellen, their task is to carry the whole film with Jamie, and it's a big task. It's a big film that she's in every scene, I think, except one. And it's a hell of a journey for that character. And surprisingly, one of the most difficult things to do as an actor is to do kind of the more passive stuff, like, you know, turn into a zombie, act injured, die. That's all three things that, you know, Alex has to deal with and work with, like, to varying degrees. The character Alex, and Mitzi was, you know, one of the few that it was comfortable to watch. You know, that's a very difficult thing to do and make it easy on the audience to not like cringe. And she had to do it across Zoom with me and 3 or 4 other producers watching her do it and giving her cues. And she was just so easy. And then so we put them together, and I mean, they are just great people. They're now close friends, and the chemistry was just electric immediately. And you know, you're grateful when you're creative and you see that, because that means that there's at least something here that any shortcomings you might have, the human element of them can help patch up, if that makes sense.
Dana, do you have any thoughts on Jeremy Holm? I'm a friends with Jeremy, so hopefully you don't say anything mean about him.
He's a hell of a kisser. I can tell you. I mean, he'll tell you when you meet him. He's like, I'm Jeremy Holm. I'm a hell of a kisser. So it's not
very tall.
Yeah, no, he's great. I had a great fun with him. I still get strange texts from him that I cherish. They'll send me a picture of his chickens and things on his farm in Connecticut. No, he was great. He was just everything you want to have to be forced to hang out with somebody on set, exactly what you want him to be.
They were sort of like the kids in the classroom that you had to separate, because they just start goofing off with each other right at the most important damn parts, and it's like somebody separate them too.
I think he's cast really well because he has like this. He's not mean looking, but he's like a big, like tough looking guy, and so I think you think of him a certain way when you see him, and then maybe the character's a little different than what you expect.
Yeah, he's definitely an onion.
Yeah,
but yeah. Intimidating looking, and he takes it. I mean, don't get me wrong. He takes very serious his craft. But we'd have these breathable moments because we're there doing all this tense stuff, screaming at each other, and then you gotta have this little release in between before you. I think if we were all that tense for 10 hours a day, we would end up having, everybody have a heart attack or some type of palpitations from. We had to ratchet it up.
Yeah.
Needs a little bit.
So Comic-Con the 12th, and then video on demand and theatrical release on the 13th, which it's very cool as a Friday the 13th in October for all the horror people out there like myself. And where would it go from there? And where can people follow Herd to see where it'll play and where they can catch it?
Yeah, you can catch us on Instagram at herd.film, but the best place to follow us is just the website. Real easy. Herd.film, same thing. We keep that up to date. day to day. That'll have all the links to purchase on VOD. And also we have a decent amount of theaters across the country that are playing the film. So if you are so inclined, you do want to go watch it, tickets are all available there, and keeping it easy for you.
Yeah, and like Corbin was saying about comedy and horror is fun to watch with people. Besides the big blockbuster movies, independent horror actually is like the other genre that does well at theaters.
Oh, well, that's, I hope so. I hope that we can show it in a few theaters across the country. As many people that wants to go see it can.
I go see everything, so I'm a bad example. But when I go see horror stuff, there are normally a lot of people there, so it's fun.
Oh yeah, it's another good date night movie.
Right. It's a double feature. You go see Herd and Schindler's List.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah,
that's the
which
entire.
one first?
You need to say nothing more about humanity than those two films. It's a double feature.
Yeah, I like it,
and I think Schindler's List opens up for Herd, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's a lead-in. Yeah.
Definitely.
A little Tom and Jerry cartoon in the middle. Okay.
No, can we do you got to do the dancing hot dogs with the concession stand.
There we go.
That works.
Let's go out to the lobby. So I also want to mention, Dana, that I'm a big fan of Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. I've had Casper Kelly on the show, and you're great in it, and I think it's a very quirky, weird little thing people should check out.
Well, thank you. We had great fun making it.
And I'm also a big fan of The Dentist, Corbin. I'm not just saying that because you're here. There's previous episodes where I talk about it.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
And
I do more of that for years, but it's like that's pushing a big rock uphill.
Oh, really? I would think like I said, horror has really picked up steam. So, and they make sequels to stuff from years later. So I don't know. Maybe people.
Brian and I've been trying for years, but it's ownership issues to that. We wrote a movie called The Plastic Surgeon, which basically does the same thing, but it's.
Well, I think The Dentist that people have an inherent fear of the dentist to begin with, so I think it works like right away.
Yeah. Stay tuned, as they say.
All right. And Steven, are you going to continue to work in the horror genre?
Yeah, James and I are working on another feature film script right now. That's again it's sort of like a romantic comedy slasher. So it'll be that hopefully will be out in 2025. We'll start pushing that forward to shoot next year, hopefully. And then there's always a couple other projects that are circling to direct, and I hope hopefully some of those will come through, and I'll be able to talk to you again, Neal, about those.
All right, sounds good. Well, I really enjoyed Herd. Again, not just because you guys are here. I liked it. It was I like infected zombie movies, but it's more than that. It's a very interesting film, and it really worked.
Great. I greatly appreciate it, Neal. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch it.
Yeah, and I saw on the laptop like Corbin. I would like to see it on the big screen. I think that's the best way to see any movies.
Perfect.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Dana.
Thanks, Neal. Have a great day.
Thanks, Neal. It's great talking to you.
You as well. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.